Chapter 4. An Evening with Bartrum. The boy ran with elated relief, his mind drifting to important thoughts. Suddenly, he was jarred back to the present by the resounding of a familiar voice. A fresh smile quickly spread across the boy's face, for there, running beside him, was his friend, the fox. "Well done, boy," said the fox. "You got out of your first adventure by thinking before you acted." Thinking about it again, the boy realized that he was indeed greatly relieved to have gotten away from that incredible spider. Talking as they went, the fox and the boy hadn't travelled very far when the boy mentioned that he was getting hungry. The fox stopped running, looked at him and said, "Well, let's spend the night down by the creek." A brook was just off the trail. The oak forest had slowly changed into a beautiful pine and fir forest, warm and green, ferns everywhere. The camp was perfect. The weather was just right, and the grass was as soft as a bed, and there were no bothersome insects. The fox asked the boy if he had any questions. Do I?" replied the boy enthusiastically. "Well, what the heck am I doing here? Where are we? Just a few simple questions like that." The fox roared with amusement. After considerable chuckling, the fox told the boy, "You are on your way to the Triple Peaks. This adventure is only yours. Your ultimate quest and goal is to drink from the gem of the first water. And, my friend, only you can decide to make it. This is the land of confusion." The fox went on to tell the boy that the puzzle on his palm symbolized his confused destiny, as if he continued his present ways. "Kid, there's a better way to live your life." Then the fox told the boy that there was another who would come into his life soon, who would share more. With that, the fox dreamed deeply of the fox world, and as the boy pondered his destiny, he realized that he was no longer hungry. After about 4 days on the journey, as he was running along, the boy spied a large toadstool beside the trail. Upon the toadstool sat a smallish man. He reminded the boy of an elf, for he wore little pointed felt shoes that curled up at the toes, to which were attached small golden tassels. The man sat cross-legged and had great big ears and a deeply furrowed and wrinkled face. "Good morning, Bartrum," said the fox. "I'd like to introduce you to this young man. He's not just any boy, you know. This is the chosen one, the boy upon all attention has been placed." "Oh, yes," replied the little man. "I have received word from the cosmos." Then, turning to the boy, the little man said, "My son, you need to come to my house for rest, for I am your rescuer." Immediately, the boy sensed that it was okay to trust him. Yet he said to the little man, "I've got to hurry. I'm on my way to the Triple Peaks, and I've got people back at the castle that I need to help." The man looked at him and said, "Come with me. You need to hear something first." Deciding that it was okay, the boy and the fox went with the little man into the forest. They passed through a densely wooded area that got even more dense as the ferns grew taller, some even 10 feet high. In some places, the ferns were so thick that the boy had to push the fronds and foliage aside in order to get through, only to find more ferns in his way. The man, being quite small, easily walked underneath them and had no difficulty at all in getting through. As the boy surged through a particularly dense canopy, he spotted a log cabin on the other side. The cabin was set into a hillside. Twinkling lights and a roaring fire made a spectacular view through the 4 long paned windows. There seemed to be a curtain a certain charm to this place. It was surrounded with gardens full of flowers, vegetables, herbs, and shrubbery blending together and making the whole scene look like a Monet painting. On the front door was a finely carved castle in the air scene. The boy looked long at the door. Bartrum turned and gave the traveller a hearty welcome to his lodge. The boy, the fox, and their host entered the structure through the heavy wooden door, which swung easily. At one end of the big room, there burned a roasting fire in the fireplace, built from stones bigger than footballs. Big, overstuffed, round-backed chairs were all around. It was somewhat dark inside, but the boy began to see clearly as his eyes became accustomed to the dim light. He saw other little men, much like Bartrum, sitting in some of the chairs and having a deep conversation that seemed to be quite enjoyable. It was peaceful and quiet in this place. The man who had brought the boy to the den said, "My name is Bartrum. Sit down, boy, make yourself comfortable." The boy looked into the chair that was in front of him to make sure that no one else was already there, and then he sat down. Bartrum said, "I talk, you listen. Then you can talk and I will listen. My son, a respiteer, is a caregiver. I am the appointed respiteer. My wife, Laurel, and I will help you through the land of confusion. We will be steady and absolutely true." As he spoke, Laurel came bustling in, carrying a tray of delicious food. As she placed the tray before him, all at once he became hungry. The timing was perfect. He ate ribs, egg rolls, artichoke hearts, and piping hot yeast rolls. Then Laurel brought in a shrimp salad and French bread. The boy ate until he could eat no more. Laurel inquired if he was ready for the main course. He looked at her, smiled, patted his stomach, and said he couldn't possibly eat one more bite. Surprised, she said, "Why, you don't even want my renowned dessert." The boy reconsidered and had a cosmic mudslide. Afterward, as he sat totally content, the warmth of the fire made him drowsy. He was not sure whether he had slept 10 seconds or 10 hours. He woke to hear Bartrum saying to him, "Now, your next adventure is of extreme importance. Your success depends on your honesty with yourself." Bartrum leaned forward in his chair, raised his hands, and in a beckoning manner he said, "When you're angry, behave the opposite of how you feel. And remember," he stood up, walked over to the boy, looked him in the eye, and said, "Remember to be honest with yourself." Bartrum continued to look directly at the boy for another long moment. He then returned to his chair and said, Right, now you talk." "Whoa, okay, Bartrum. What am I doing here? One minute I'm in a friend's house, and the next minute I'm in a land of confusion." "I'm confused." "Of course you are, young friend. This is a trick all people take on the road to adulthood. This is your learning time. The appointed time between being a kid and welcoming an adult and becoming an adult. You'll find out who you are by the choices you make." The boy listened intently. Then, after a reflective pause, he asked how he could rescue the people trapped in Felicia's dungeon, adding, "I know I must get to the Triple Peaks. I know that much. But what do I do when I get there?" Good questions, Bartrum said. "In response to your first question, you can't free the trapped." "What?" shouted the boy. "Calm down, kid. All you can do is free yourself." "How?" the boy asked. Bartrum and the fox smiled at each other, and the fox said, "Boy, the only way anyone escapes Felicia's puzzle press is by freeing himself. How can that be done? On the way behaviour."
On the way behaviour,
echoed Bartrum. "What kind of behaviour is that?" asked the boy.
Well, young man, that's what your adventure is all about. You'll find out.
The boy sat perplexed, thinking. He realised that he was now thinking before he talked. Strange new behaviour, he thought. Those people back there, they're lost in hopelessness and utter despair, he uttered to the fox and the smallish man.
Well, maybe they'll find their fox and get on their way too,
responded Bartrum. After another long pause, Bartrum asked,
Do you still want to know what you will do when you get to the Triple Peaks?
Yes. What do I do? Responded the boy.
You climb the 12 golden stairs, and then you will find a silver chalice at the bottom of the pool of the Gem of the First Water. All you do is drink from the chalice.
Sounds too simple, said the boy. Will some magic there free those poor people?
No, not magic nor any other power. Only by your example will they be freed.
The boy sat for some time watching the fire. My example? That doesn't sound so important. I'm really confused, Bartrum. This is really weird talk, you know? Those people seemed so entranced. Why didn't they respond when I found a way out?
Because they had already lost hope, boy. They couldn't see the forest for the trees. But perhaps, just perhaps, they'll find their foxes.
The boy let his thoughts drift for a while. As the crackling fire warmed him, he began to get a little sleepy. Bartrum noticed and said,
Relax now, boy, for you'll need to rest again for your journey. But remember, be honest with your feelings and tell all the truth to...
The boy couldn't quite hear the name of the person that Bartrum said to be truthful with.
You're going to be asked things about yourself that you've never been asked before. I will see you from time to time along your journey, continued Bartrum. You'll do respite at my home, where you'll regain your strength. You'll also get good advice, encouragement, and direction. Use every opportunity, my boy. Let us help you, but relax now. It's time for you to get strong.
Once again, the boy lapsed into deep, restful sleep. Upon awakening, he felt relaxed, stronger, and ready to begin his journey. He left Bartram's lodge and walked out into the garden by himself. The fox stayed and talked with Bartrum a moment longer. In the lodge, the council of smallish men as ever conversed amongst themselves. Soon the fox trotted up beside him and asked, Are you well rested, boy? I feel good, better than I've felt in a long time, said the boy. He looked around and easily spotted his way out of the den, where he had pushed through the ferns the day before. The ferns, being so delicate, hadn't had time to regain their form. As he came out to the other side of the forested area, the fox asked, What did you learn from Bartrum? Well, that when I'm angry and upset, I should act the opposite of the way I'm feeling. He also told me something too simple. He said, Boy, be honest with yourself. If you're not, you'll get stuck. The fox gave the boy a thoughtful look and said, Boy, I'd like to second that motion. You're not honest with yourself, and you will get stuck because of it.